Hi everyone, it's been a while, but I'm back and I'm raring to go with lots of new comparisons. In this video today, I'm testing the Nikon Z400 f4.5 and seeing how it compares to my Z100 to 400 f4 to f5.6. But to start with, let's get the obvious bit out of the way. The difference in the aperture. It's just over half a stop. Not a huge amount. It simply means that I need to slightly drop the shutter speed or increase the ISO fractionally. It's only going to be a problem in low light when I need to get the shutter speeds up, when I need to keep them up. But even then it's not a huge difference really. But how does it affect depth of field? Well, let's find out. I took this portrait with the Z100 to 400 at f5.6 and this one with the Z400 at f4.5. So is there a difference? Now, talking of difference, let's take a quick look at both of the lenses. The Z400 was released about 8 months later than the 100 to 400 in July last year, but for some daft reason it's taken me up till now to get hold of one of these for testing. The weights are fairly similar. The 100 to 400 is 1,435 grams and the Z400 is 1,245 grams. So the difference is 190 grams, and that's the same as an apple and two plums, or less than my iPhone 13 Pro. Other phone makes are available. Lengthwise, the 100 to 400 is about 29 centimeters fully extended, and the Z400 is a little bit shorter at 26 centimeters. The front lens on the Z400 is larger and takes a 95 meter filter, whereas my 100 to 400 is only 77, which is the same as my 70 to 200 as a matter of interest. Before testing these lenses, I wondered what would they mainly be used for? Well, the last two pictures were a giveaway, so I guess birds it is then. As you can see, I'm using the Atomos Ninja to show you the camera settings of some of the images. I've tried to keep the same settings for both lenses so that it's a fair comparison. As both lenses are fairly light, they both handled well, and it was a relief not to get the usual arm ache that comes after 5 minutes of trying to track the birds with my heavier lenses. Now, despite them both being that light, they both feel balanced and feel really good on my Z9. It feels reasonably heavy in my hand. It sits quite deeply. Anyway, I was shooting with both lenses wide open to try to lose any background distractions, and it was then that I began to notice a definite difference between them. Because as far as bokeh or blurred background is concerned, I think the 400 tends to show what is technically known as mechanical vignetting. It's a swirling whirlpool effect in the background that occurs with some lenses, usually when they're set wide open like I was at f4.5. Some people like the effect, but personally speaking I prefer a more even background. It should be relatively easy to resolve though, just drop down a couple of stops and it ought to go away. Of course, then we get a more in focus background, so you'd have distractions there as well. Anyway, you make your own choice. As far as optical advantage, I can't say that one lens is hugely better than the other. In fact, I don't think there's much between them, to be quite honest. They both produce images that are perfectly acceptable quality, but if I had to make a choice, I think that the 400 is marginally sharper overall. But I'll tell you something, there's more to a good lens than just sharpness. Oh yes, there's autofocus speed. In this test I'll focus on 3 objects at different distances. Number 1, this bush, number 2, the apple tree, and finally the tree in the distance. Now I'm not pressing the shutter as soon as I see the object, the focus isn't this slow honestly. I delayed it to distinguish between the movement of the camera and the actual focus working. Both lenses had the same exposure settings and the limit switches were set to infinity. By the way, if you're wondering how I got the timing, and boy it was difficult, well, I was listening to the late great Hank Williams while I was doing this test. So what are you thinking? Which one's the best? I did it a few times with each lens and they were pretty equal in terms of hunting at times. but getting it right most of the time. Now, they're not 70 to 200 fast, but not bad for 400s. If you want faster focus, get a Z400 f2.8. But I'll tell you what, you'll be paying a lot more money in exchange for that marginal focus speed difference. Okay, it's not all you get, but you see my point. In talking of focus, I need to quickly tell you about the minimum focusing distance from these two lenses. The Z400 is 3 inches short of 9 foot, nothing unusual there, but the 100 to 400 lets you get to within 4 feet at 400 mil. That's 4 feet, that's pretty impressive. The 14 grand 400 mil f2.8 is still about 9 foot, so 4 foot is really close and really quite impressive. Luckily, I didn't need that for my next test. You see, I really wanted to use these two lenses for something else, partly because I was enjoying using them so much, and partly because I wanted to get them to know the 400 better. As it turned out, I'd already got something planned for my next video, so I thought, why not take them along? Why not take them and try them at the British Motocross Championship round? I didn't really need a 400mm at the track I went to, as the action was really close, but I found a few positions to try them out. My shutter speeds were quite slow, between 400 and 640, and these are just a random selection straight out of the camera. I'll let you make up your own mind which lens you think performed the best, because to be honest, I just can't tell. I took thousands of shots, partly because I was testing 4 lenses and partly because I wasn't convinced that I would have enough decent images to show you. You see, it's the first time I've covered motocross and my confidence level wasn't exactly high. But I tell you something, it's a testament to the Nikon engineers who designed the Z9 and these lenses that 97% of my images were sharp and usable. I was truly amazed. But that feeling was tinged with a hint of frustration. In fact, I just felt a little deflated. Let me explain. I've spent years trying to perfect the art of photography, and with one model, Nikon have made it fairly superfluous. In fact, they've made taking decent shots too easy. No longer do I need to pick a point on the object and precisely track it as it goes past. The camera tracks it and it does all the work. Anyway, to my conclusion, I think optically the 400 is fractionally sharper, but both lenses performed better than I'd expected. I didn't really notice the difference between the f4.5 and the 5.6, though I was somewhat unfairly missing an f2.8 option at times. Neither of these lenses have that, so there's no point in wishing. What these lenses do have is mobility. They're light, and my shoulder barely noticed that I'd used them for a full day's shooting. If I had to choose one, it would be the one I already own, the 100 to 400. And it's for the very reason I bought it, flexibility. That ability to zoom from 100 to 400 is to me a game changer. But I'll tell you what, don't let that put you off getting the Z400 f4.5, because you will not be disappointed. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to me. I'm sorry I don't have a more definitive decision, but if you like this video, don't forget to like it, and if you really liked it, please subscribe. Then you won't miss my shootout between the Z70 to 200 and the lens I don't understand at the present moment, the Z70 to 180. Let's see whether it makes more sense when I've done the test.